In the last 2 hours, South Africa, President Ramaphosa congratulates the new president of Cuba S.Africa. Riots force new president to leave London summit. In the last 4 hours, South Africa's Ramaphosa flies in to try and quell northern protests. Cyril Ramaphosa arrives in protest hit Mahikeng. In the last 6 hours, South Africa's Ramaphosa visits province beset by violent protests. Leaders call for a halt in Mahikeng protests as Ramaphosa is expected. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie reveals sexual assault. Diamond Platnumz apologizes for kiss. Measure of calm descends on Mahikeng ahead of Ramaphosa's arrival. Leaders call for a half in Mahikeng protests as Ramaphosa is expected. Ramaphosa leaves UK early to deal with Mahikeng protests. Mahikeng protests suspended as Ramaphosa expected. Live protest chaos in Mahikeng. Ramaphosa to intervene. Ramaphosa, ANC leaders to visit protests. Stricken Northwest saw protests. Ramaphosa leaves 12th early. South African port rail firm CFO resigns amid graft concern. Violent protests in South Africa demand anti-corruption. Ramaphosa leaves London as protests erupt in South Africa. South Africa's Ramaphosa leaves Commonwealth Summit to deal with protests. South Africa Pres. Cuts short UK visit amid unrest at home. Economist Trudy Makaya has what it takes to spur economic change. Ramaphosa to lend a hand in Mahikeng. The emerging world's most unruly currency has taken a chill pill. Africa leader curtails Britain trip over unrest at home. SA leader returns home early amid protests yesterday. Ramaphosa in drive to woo investors. Big protests in South Africa force Ramaphosa to end London visit. Ramaphosa returning home to deal with protests in Northwest. Ramaphosa leaves London meeting to address South Africa protests. Ramaphosa returns to SA early over Mahikeng protests. Ramaphosa calls for calm in Mahikeng. Watch, Cyril's son takes a swipe at foolish. Due to Zan video, Cyril Ramaphosa heads to Mahikeng as anti-Supra protests intensify. Ramaphosa cuts short UK visit to resolve Mahikeng chaos. ANC top brass to visit NW as calls mount for Mahumapelo to resign. Ramaphosa heads to Mahikeng as anti-Supra protests intensify. Ramaphosa to bestow national orders on exceptional South Africans. Ramaphosa calls on Commonwealth to invest in South Africa. Ramaphosa's son takes a swipe at due to Zan. Zuma BLSA throws weight behind Ramaphosa's R1.2 TRN investment drive. Meet Ramaphosa's dream team to help sell SET to investors. Cyril's son causes social media stir. Ramaphosa says he'll use his private sector experience to grow SA economy. Union asks Ramaphosa to intervene in Northwest health crisis. A Ramaphosa in every province may save South Africa. Ramaphosa team to seek $100 billion investment for South Africa. In pictures, Ramaphosa's Commonwealth visit with heads of government. Editorial, Cyril's investment dream team has work cut out in the last 7 days. Sharing the land will grow our economy. Cyril Ramaphosa video, Ramaphosa, Mantashe bring wave of optimism to mining sector. Expert no, new dawn, with Fraser at correctional services. Main here are the biggest challenges still facing South Africa's Ramaphosa. Ramaphosa's investment emissaries may find it tough going. Ramaphosa, land reform won't come at cost of economy. Ramaphosa's charm offensive in the UK looks likely to pay off. Rand recovery double-edged sword. Land must be shared. Ramaphosa Rand recovery double-edged sword. Land must be shared. Cyril Ramaphosa. Ramaphosa mulls incentives to reach $100 billion investment goal. Africa President. Rand recovery double-edged sword. Land must be shared. South Africa's Ramaphosa sees potential for 3% growth 2 months in. Ramaphosa effect is lifting South Africa economy. Ramaphosa's plan to attract R1.2 TRN investment marks potential. New dawn. Ramaphosa woos investors with vow to tackle South African graft. Trudy Makaya and Ramaphosa's A-team saw economy in good hands under Makaya. Nakura Ramaphosa devotees to purge Dlamini Zuma backers. Watch, Cyril Ramaphosa meets UK Prime Minister Theresa